One of the things that we hope will happen is that there will be greater knowledge of a collection of New Testament books that are largely neglected, not only in the church, but also in the academy. The dominance of Paul from the very beginning.
That's right.
I mean, the collection of Pauline letters in circulation already, probably at the end of the first century, certainly throughout the second century, the church became Paulinized. I mean, Pauline interpretation of the gospel largely triumphed.
One of the things in the ancient world that's just fascinating is, as Rob said, Paul is embraced immediately and really defines early Christian orthodoxy right away. The difficulty was never with Paul's orthodoxy, but the capacity for Paul to lead others faithfully into orthodoxy, because Paul had a number of heretical friends, they would often say in the past. People who took up that Pauline witness and took it in directions that were against the larger apostolic tradition of Christianity. And so you have St. Augustine talking about this perplexing problem with the writings of Paul, that some people read Paul and end up rejecting the Old Testament, read Paul and end up rejecting Jewishness, read Paul and end up rejecting obedience, things like this. Very much at the core of Paul's own witness and teaching was that the church should reflect the nature and identity of God. That in God there is unity and there is diversity. And we see that in his teaching about the church. We see that in the way that he could be so fluid in teaching different things to different contexts. He understood a very contextual Christianity and understood himself as a pastor in that way. The nice thing about the Catholic Epistle Collection is it really does get us back to this core concern that the truth of God comes through multiple forms and not just through this one apostolic witness. We have 4 Gospels, not just one perfectly unique historical gospel, right? We have Paul depicted in Acts, but then we've got Paul's own depiction in his letters, and these sort of work in tension with each other. We've got these other letters that also then bring agreement and tension into the Pauline witness, and the result is a much richer canon than a canon that would just focus on one particular viewpoint.